Good afternoon and happy Sunday. And I am so glad that we are back and we are amongst the living today on Let's Talk About It. Before we get into that, I just want to say thank you to everybody from the bottom of my heart that have reached out this week. They said, hey, Miss Mo, how can we help? Do you need anything? We know that you were without power for 3 days and you had this going on in a snowstorm. But honestly, everybody, I am just glad that we made it through. If I could turn my screen, which would probably be too much work, you can see that we are at 70 degrees. We're almost back to normal San Antonio weather. But I just had to say that before I bring my guest on today, that I really do appreciate everybody that have called, text, sent a message, anything. No deed has went unknown, and I really do appreciate that. If you do wish to donate, I do have neighbors that need water. If you send it or however you want to donate it, I will drive it directly where it needs to go, because we do have some people that are in much need than myself. And even as noticing today, a lot of people are at laundromats because the water pressure isn't back to where it should be. But by any means, if you do wish to help, you do wish to do anything, um, hit me in the inbox and I will take it where it needs to go. Another thing, um, we do have lights, we do have food, but like I said, there are neighbors that are without, and I live mostly near a lot of elderly people. So I have been doing my neighborly duties as well. So once I took care of the housekeeping, let's move on to our guest. I have a very special guest today that is on our show. It's so awkward when you have someone that you have watched grow into this beautiful woman, mother, daughter that she is. And when I was doing my homework, I was almost choked up in learning more about her, things that I didn't know. And she is a published author of 2 going on 3 books, but I'm going to let her tell you more about herself. Like, she is a blessing to know. So I'm going to bring her on and let her introduce herself.
Oh, you are so kind.
Always, always. I said, oh my goodness, I'm in tears. I watched her grow.
Well, my name is Carrie Farley. I am from Trotwood, Ohio, the Dayton, Ohio area, for those who aren't familiar with Trotwood, Ohio. Um, and right now I'm a restorative justice coordinator for Trotwood Medicine City Schools. I also have a nonprofit called Chosen Generation, where we provide e-mentoring to youth who are ages 12 through 18. That's our first age group. And then the second age group that we work with are the 18 to 24-year-olds, those who are in transition to adulthood. So I do that. And then most recently, I also have become a published author. So I have started Beauty from Ashes, LLC, which is going to be my publishing company, and some other works are in place under that business. So thank you so much for having me, Miss Robinson.
Yes. Now, see, I learned 2 new things about you in like 2 minutes. I didn't know that you had a nonprofit. So can you tell me something about that?
Yes. Okay. So, Chosen Generation, it started during my school counseling internship at Trotwood High School, my alma mater, by the way, class of 2000. And go Rams. And basically, I had to do a college grad assignment. You always have to do a grad project. So
Wow.
my graduation project was putting together a power lunch program. So what I did was I solicited, well, first I went into the classrooms, all English classrooms, because every grade level has to take English. And so I just went in with pieces of paper, and I asked each child to write down their top 3 professions that they would love to do. And so from there, I solicited people from the community first, who were alumni of Trotwood, then
Wow.
secondly, people who were Trotwood residents, And then third, if we couldn't get anybody in those professions from those two groups, then I, went outside to find someone to come in, volunteer not just their time, but I was very specific in who I wanted to come and speak to the youth, because not only did I want them to come and speak to the youth, but I wanted them to be able to provide their contact information, so that if they have questions after they left, if they needed mentoring, if it was a senior getting ready to graduate and they needed to stay in contact with them until they could get to where they needed to go academically or career wise, that they could do so. So that program was very successful. There were 3 students who were on the verge of not graduating their senior year. And one of them, more specifically, he didn't even know what he wanted to do. And there was a barber who I brought in, and he was really successful. He got through to that youth, and that youth said, I think I want to cut hair. And he said, well, if you graduate high school, I'll help you with barber college. You could come and shadow me, in the shop. And I checked in with him, and he would say, yeah, he's coming in here. He's coming in here and watching what I'm doing, and from there on, they have formed, their own long lasting relationship. So that's kind of how Chosen Generation started, just, providing those mentors that these youth need. Because I can't do it all, and me, the mama in me, the nurturer in me, I want to take all the babies, let me help them. But my husband's like, okay, you can't be at home talking about these kids, all day, every day. And I'm like, you're right. And I got my own kids, So I'm like, this is the best way to make sure that our youth are not being forgotten and that they're placed in good and capable hands, people who can help them get along in their life journey. So that's how Chosen Generation came about. And now more recently with the pandemic, we have evolved into e-mentoring. So that's something that we are going to try to rev up even the more. And right now we are working and partnering with the mentoring collaborative of Montgomery County. And they are helping us with developing our e-mentoring platform.
Oh, wow. So you have your hands full totally. I'm so like amazed. I'm like, this is little Carrie. No, I'm just playing. But no, that's exciting. And if there's anything that I can do to help, like I told you earlier, we have no limits to who and where. We're based out of San Antonio, but however, I have kids as far as California that benefit from what we do at A Better Chance for Youth. But it is not about me. I am trying to learn more about what you're doing today.
Collaboration is our so I will be hitting you up after this.
Definitely. So you got comments already. You have Chrissy Style that says, good job.
Thank you.
So yes. But I do want to know, especially, for my scholars that watch and the different families on the different platforms, how did you get to start writing books? Because I was like, okay, she did one. And I was thinking that when you posted the announcement that was the first one, I'm like, wait a minute, she has 2 books. All I can say is go, girl. How can I support? But how did you get to that?
Okay, so it all started with Mr. Stebbins in high school. No, but our senior year, where I was in honors English, and we read the Canterbury Tales, and he's like, everybody, you have to write your own Canterbury Tales. So I'm like, it has to be interesting. It has to be good, because if anybody's read the Canterbury Tales, it's very juicy. So
I remember.
So here I am in high school writing this story, and he's like, this is pretty good. And so I still have my original Canterbury Tale, and it's with the names, and it's literally like 1 page, my little tale. And so from that 1 page, by the end of senior year, it turned into like this book. And it's like a little novella, really. It's not a huge book. But it's something that I wrote in high school. And so, if anyone knows my dad, he used to be a pastor, he used to preach and all those things. And,
yes,
and I never did want to publish the first one, because just out of respect for my father and, what he, So I was like, I'll just keep it, for myself. This is something that I did, I did pass around from my class, and some people liked it, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, that's fine. However, let me see, about 3 years ago, I went through a lot of different challenges and a lot of different things in my life. Um, and through that time, I just kind of threw everything into writing. And so from that, I decided to write a sequel to the first book. And so that's how the series began, because literally I had just shelved that first one. Like I said, I didn't even have plans on publishing it. And during that time period, my father, he was in hospice, his deathbed. My mom's there as a witness, and my dad was just like, whatever's okay with you, it's okay with me. He said, I've raised you right. You know the word, you know how to move in season and out of season, all of those things. And so I went on ahead, and with my father's blessing, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm just going to put it out there, because I was going to write that second book. And so from there, that's how Love Chances started. And then Love Changes, my second book. Like I said, that came from that place where I was just really going through. And so I just put everything into that, and some of my healing came from that. Like, it took me maybe about a little over a year to finish that book, because there were certain emotions that I had the character have, and I would hit a writer's block because I hadn't went through that yet. So it was like I couldn't write about her healing, or I couldn't write about her getting a breakthrough unless I had that healing and got that breakthrough. So I do have to shout out my church, City of Victory, Bishop Lash, Mother Lash. They prayed for me. My church family prayed for me. My mother, my husband, everybody. Like, during that time, we just learned how to come together, and it really helped me. It helped me with those breakthroughs, and I was able to keep moving in my writing, and I got this book done. And so that's why now you have Love Changes that came out New Year's Day of this year. And then I'm currently working on the third and final book in this love series. So that's what's going on with that.
Oh wow! Well, you have a person that had sent you some love. She said she's read both books and they are amazing.
Thank you.
So put them down. So I did put in the chat, like, share, comment. This is your time to get to know as much about Carrie Farley. I made a mistake and called her Carrie Marr, which tells you the history here. But she is, I'm learning that, she's more amazing than I even thought she was, because she has a nonprofit. We have a common interest, because she does restorative practices. I have some experience with that too. And just to watch someone come to be this successful, and you're not that old, so it's like, oh my goodness, she did 2 books. But you did talk about something that, if I don't want to put you in an uncomfortable space.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay. But for you to say that this helped you get through your healing, and that right there speaks volumes, because so many times people rush on to do things and they're not totally free themselves. So I really appreciate you being very transparent and vulnerable enough to even share that with my scholars, as well as people that tune in and watch on the various platforms that we're on. But you said that created a writer's block, or you just couldn't think of anything, or you just was, I know how close you were to your dad. Your dad was a very, very spiritual, wonderful, gentle person.
Thank you.
So I'm like, oh my God. So to experience that, did you have a character in either of your books that may have been like in the kind of sense of him, or you just came to a pause?
Let me see. I wouldn't necessarily say the characters that had the sense of him. Now, in this one that I'm writing now, there's a little bit of him in one of the characters. But this book that I just put out with Love Changes, actually, the main character, Andrea, there's a big source of her feeling, that God has left her, that God has forgotten her. And during those times, like, my marriage was in shambles. I thank God for restoring it, by the way. But my marriage was in shambles. My father passed. I mean, all these things happened, back to back to back. And so it's like, if you aren't rooted in God, or you're not mentally strong, you could have had a breakdown. Anything could have happened, but God, And so, literally, like, the character, those feelings, even though I didn't go through what I put my character through in the book, those feelings were still real, and they were very much the same.
Wow.
And so, with me having to have her go through that journey, I was going through that journey with her, as far as the emotional piece of it.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm getting at is that you turned your pain into, not just profit, but you turned your pain into victory.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that speaks volumes. So that might be why your story is doing the way it is on the book readers list. Because I'm like, goodness, she's even on the list. She got famous people reading her book. So
yeah, I was like, wow, like, that's crazy, because literally I didn't think that. It was just something I'm putting it out there, and you see what happens. That's all. I was just sharing, just some entertainment for some, but for others, it's real life. It's real talk. These emotions are real. They're real, but God is also real. He can restore, he can rejuvenate, he can revive, he can deliver, he can heal you, he can set you free.
that girl, you had me in here crying. Was it the type of week I had? No, I'm just playing. But wow. So how did you get to, like, are you gonna do, is this gonna be like a trilogy, or is this gonna be a series? Are you just gonna keep going until you just run out of info? Like, what are your, sky's the limit, huh?
Right. So that's why, I do sometimes, if you follow me on social media, I do have, author Carrie Farley for IG. I'm just Carrie Farley on Facebook, or sometimes I publish under Love Series or whatever. But I ask and I solicit people, hey, give me reviews, inbox me your thoughts, whatever. If I post a post, please comment and let me know, because I'm kind of filling it out and seeing, what people are saying. Like, I decided to do this third one. I decided to write on it now, because originally I was just going to do every New Year's, drop a book.
Okay.
But after this book, people were like, I'm not waiting till New Year's. You need to write now. So, like I said, I don't know what's going on if people don't talk back to me. So, majority of people are saying, they don't want to wait till New Year's. And, so I listen to the masses, I listen to the masses, so I produce. Now I do, as far as like moving past the trilogy, right now I kind of don't know. I know how I want this third one to end.
Okay.
But I will develop the younger characters. So if any point, if I want to pick up their stories, I could do that, maybe.
Wow.
And then also, I will go into detail about my personal journey when I'm ready to do that. But I will put out my own memoir as well at some point. The story will be told, but it's when I'm ready.
Yeah, that's it has to be when you're ready. And I remember having that conversation with someone this week, and they was like, "What do you mean? We didn't know you was dealing with this. We didn't know this." I was like, "Sometimes God just wants you to sit still and hear Him." And I truly feel that in your novels and your books and in everything that you're doing, God is in it. Because I'm like, goodness, she's just sitting up here so bold and telling me this. And I'm excited because I didn't know you was doing all of this. I'm like, goodness, I'm calling thinking it's about a book. Carrie, you have a nonprofit, you're a restorative counselor, and all this has been instilled. And it is not because I know you personally. It's like, I know your mom and dad instilled all this in you.
Yeah. And they're low key too. Like, we don't do this stuff for show. You got people, they like to put, and I'm not trying to go that route, but I mean, I'm just being honest. I mean,
call a spade a spade.
It's just in me. My parents is low key about it. They ain't putting out there, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and we doing this. No, it's just, you doing whatever God put on your heart to do. If somebody shares it, likes it, or whatever, praise God. But if they don't, as long as God is happy and He's pleased and
Amen.
that's all that matters. So that's what we do. What matters.
Girl, you just said a mouthful in about 2 minutes. That is a major blessing. And just looking back at, our home church days, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And to see how well you have developed, and like you're winning in all aspects. Now, if a person wanted to get information about how to help out with your nonprofit, do you have a site for that available as well?
I do. On Facebook, you can just type in Chosen Generation. And then also I have my actual website, Chosen Generation 44 dot com. So you can go there. You can always message me if you like. DM, whatever, however they say. I'm open. I'm pretty much an open person. However you want to go about it, you can do so, whether it's via website, inbox, DM, Facebook post. You can do it all.
Oh wow. So I do have to ask this question, and I usually ask everyone that comes on. Um, what inspired you to rise above all of your adversities? And just talking beforehand, I was like, yeah, we both been hit with some things. But
Yeah.
to overcome it, like, what is your go-to? Like, who inspires you to be the greatness that I see now?
Wow. Well, I have to pay tribute and homage to my grandmother, Carrie McLaren. I'm named after my grandmother. I'm her namesake. That woman is one of the closest people to God that I know. And I'm not just saying it because it's my grandmother and I have a bias, but she really lived the word. I mean, who do you know, your son-in-law will shoot your daughter and you still say, because that's her husband, he can still come back in the house. You know what I mean? She still fixed that man dinner. And by the time that he left this earth, he was saved, so just to be able to see the love of Christ in my grandmother. Wow. And to see, the respect that she had from people, myself, my other cousins, first cousins, second cousins, their kids, we're all living off of my grandmother's blessings, just how she walked with God. There's things that have trickled down to us because of how she lived. Like, I could go on for days about that, like where people have done things. They say, well, I know your grandmother, so I'm gonna look out for you. Those are those type of blessings. And so for me, I'm inspired by my grandmother because not only do I have her name, but who she was. Carrie even means strength. It means strong, and that was my grandmother. And the fact that my parents named me that, names are so important, and just want to live up to that, be the best person that God wants me to be. One thing my grandmother always said before she left this earth in 95 years, she said, be good and keep God first. She always said that no matter what. So, that's my inspiration. I hope I'm doing her proud, and more importantly, I hope I'm making God proud.
You truly are. I mean, and I'm just so blessed that you would take time to come even on our Let's Talk About It Sunday and tell us like even more than just your book. And just I'm like, wow, she did this. It's like almost, what don't you do? What don't you do? Even like down to your kids, or you were talking about your kids. One of your daughters is an actress. I'm like, oh my goodness, Carrie, what don't you have going on? How do you have time to write 2 books? But let's not get carried away with that. But you said that that's who inspired you. And I do, I do have a nonprofit that deal with high school seniors and things that help them as they go to college. What advice would you give a high school senior in today's COVID world?
First of all, wear your mask, wash your hands, sanitize. But no, on a serious note, I would say take this time to sit down. You know what I mean? God is sending all kind of messages for us to just sit down and focus on what He wants us to focus on. If you're a young person and you're trying to make it here in this world. Take this time out to take advantage of that silent time, that quiet time. You know, if you're on still on a lockdown or shutdown, wherever you are, take advantage of that. Sit down with people that are willing to help you. If you don't have people that are willing to help you, this is the time to research. This is the time to seek out people who are in a position where they can help you and glean what you can from those people, whether it's via Zoom or this platform, Facebook, send a post. I mean, sometimes it's just sending a post. There have been some kids that would just send a post like, hey, I'm struggling. You know, if I'm scrolling through and I can read that, hey, I'm in your inbox. You know what I mean? And it's not just myself. There's other people like that, you know. So take this time, the help that you need, the advice that you need, even the I don't knows and how do I do this? Reach out. You know, sometimes, you know, adults, we get carried away within our own life. And it's not right, but sometimes we do. But it doesn't mean we don't care. But if you put yourself out there, then we can see that, you know, where we might have been, you know, it might have been an oversight. And then you can get the help that you need. And then if you do have people who have put themselves out there as a contact for you, this is the time now to reach out to them and say, hey, I got some downtime. I need help with the FAFSA, or I need help with how do you do a resume? Can you do a Zoom with me real quick and we could practice interviewing techniques, you know, over Zoom or something like that. This is the time now to do that. Your teachers, you know, now you're in a more intimate space with Zoom if you're not going back in the building. So this is one-on-one time with your teachers. You can even, you know, pull them to the side, ask them, can they log on with you at a different time? My 7-year-old, she makes up she knows how to create her own Zooms.
Lord.
Invite her teachers. You know, I think it's great, you know. And here we are at 8:00 and her old first grade teacher is on Zoom with her, Miss Booer, shout out. But she's on Zoom with her, talking to her about science or whatever, coding, whatever they're doing. But like I said, if a 7-year-old can do it and you're 17, there's no excuse. Mm-hmm. You know, it's time out for, well, this adult ain't reach out to me, but there's adults that are out here. We just don't know who you are. But if you put yourself out there, trust and believe, if I'm scrolling, I'm going to see it. Miss Robinson going to see it. Miss Holden, who made a comment, she's going to see it. Miss Gardner, who made a comment, she's going to see it. My mother might be scrolling and see it, you know. Mm-hmm. And so just know there are people out here that do care and they want to help, but we all got to work together. We got to, as adults, come out there to the youth, and youth also, especially if you're older, you have a responsibility now to start being self-sufficient yourself and reaching out and saying, hey, I need help with X, Y, and Z, instead of waiting for someone to come to you.
That is so relevant in today's time. That is very relevant. And you touched on something that really makes sense. And it's so many people that are focusing on working against each other or not working together. And I was like, yes, you might need to repeat that again. In order to win in this, we have to work together. Yes. And, you know, time out, like you said, time out for the foolishness. You know, in my eyesight, I always say time out for the crabs in the barrel.
Yes.
You know, we cannot work at each other. We cannot pull each other down. Only way to get this and be successful and reach the young people and how we need to be the example.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I'm like, yes, you know, come through.
Yes, please. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
So yes, I'm so glad you touched on that. And I've lived in the area where you are. I know.
It's a different mentality here. It really is. But it's going to take some of us that, you know, can work together. We have to be that example. Dayton, we got to be that example. I'm calling us out. You know, we have some great things here in Dayton, but that is something that I acknowledge we need work on, is collaborating and partnering together. Mm-hmm. There's too many kids out here that's losing.
And that need us. And that's why I said I have kids that I service in the Montgomery County area. And I'm looking and I read different timelines. And I'm like, it's people there. Why are you not reaching out there? And even like I was telling you before, every Wednesday we have admission counselors on. And
Um,
2 weeks ago, it had to be 2 weeks because this week we wasn't on, but we had admission counselors that were like, we doing on the spot acceptance, and if you qualify and your GPA is high,
see,
scholarships are available. And
see.
when I tell you, I was calling churches, I was calling people, I'm like, come on, y'all,
Mhm,
they say stuff not available if you're not trying to get to it. So
mhm.
I am so glad you touched on that point. Like, yes. But another question I have for you, because you did mention that you do restorative counseling, and I know in this unique virtual world that we're in, how is
Mhm.
that like? How is that helping our kids? I mean, even though I'm not up there, my passion is with the youth. It has always been. Even when I was younger, I was still teaching still teaching the youth. But
Yeah.
how does that work?
Okay, so this darn pandemic, I tell you. So before pandemic, I was able to sit down with staff on staff, teachers with students,
Wow.
and students with students who had conflict, whether it was a teacher put, a kid out of their room, a kid got in a fight with another kid, or even some staff, they had, issues with each other. I was
Okay.
able to sit down and help them to have those restorative conversations before um, that child returned back into the classroom, or even to determine if they could come back into the classroom. Um, and still receive that fair treatment from that teacher that they should get, because they're starting over. And then for the students, just assessing whether or not you can actually repair the relationships that they had. Um, and work with those students from there. And then just check in with those kids, periodically, just to make sure they're okay. Our frequent flyers, just doing those daily check-ins with them as soon as they're getting off the bus. Hey, good morning. How are you doing? How was your night? How was your morning? Some kids, they come into the building and you don't know what they're dealing with at home. So, for them to deal with a lot of different things and then to come to school and still have difficulty, that's a lot. So before pandemic, that's what I was doing. Now during this pandemic, my role has kind of slightly changed because I have to co-teach now. Um, but what I was able to do is set up my own restorative justice classroom via Google Classroom. And I've had like maybe a couple kids check in that way. And then also like the 2 classes that I've had, I've been able to do some social emotional learning things with those students as well. So that's how I'm able to operate in the vein now. It's not like I would like it, but it's something. And that's something I can be happy about as long as it's something that I can do.
Okay. Well, I definitely know that is a need. One of the buzzwords, I guess, across in education across America has been social emotional learning, or
Hmm.
SEL, as we call it in the educational realm. But how do you feel that is actually helping? Like, is it helping, or are they actually hearing it? Are they inputting it right? I can't speak for the area here, but I can go off of what I see. It's such a greater need there.
Yes,
It's such a greater need.
yes. I was just getting ready to say. I think the issue is not the well, it is implementation. All of it really is. It boils into implementation. It's not necessarily. We have people that are capable of doing it. We have people who are doing the work, but it's not enough implementation. Meaning, you need more people, more hands on deck that are trained. In trauma informed care. They're trained in social emotional learning. They're trained in how to teach social skills, how to do all these different things. Um, and that's the part that I feel is lacking is the
Mhm.
extra needed resources to implement it successfully so it can be consistent.
Right. Not be reactive, but proactive to the situation.
Yes, yes.
I trust me.
Proactive is yes. Oh my god.
I say I get it. Sometimes, well, if I say you know me personally, so you probably know that I'm very blunt and direct if I have an issue with
Oh
anything.
yeah.
But that's one of the things that I feel is a push, especially from the African American community, especially in the neighborhoods where you are, is that we get some people who come and they you think the neighborhood because you may have a couple friends that are there, but
Right.
you really don't know what Johnny is dealing with. So I think until we, address that elephant in the room in education, it's gonna keep being the cycle that repeats itself.
Right. Exactly.
So yes, I totally agree. If you need resources, please inbox me. I can send them to you. And when it
Sure
deals
will.
with that,
Sure will.
because that is like a pet peeve of mine. It's like you put him out for talking. Jesus, really? You couldn't handle that?
Yeah. Yeah. But I will say in some people's defense, it's a skill. It's a skill to
Mhm.
be able to relate to people, to be able to de-escalate people. It's a skill that everybody does not have. So
Exactly. And
they
it
will
gets.
call on you, Miss Robinson, because you are skillful in that area.
I don't know. It might just be personal experience. Like, look, she was a behavior kid. She know how to deal with all of it.
Well, who better
But
they listen to? Somebody that that has been there. You could say, "Hey, I already know.
I
Trick
know.
no good."
Yeah. Hey. And it's so funny because a lot of times people are like, no, you was not that type of kid. You just didn't know me as well as you thought. But anyway, anywho, I definitely will be a resource for you if
Thank
you need
you.
it for that. I know it's a dire need.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes I do pop in up there and I visit different schools when I'm in that area. I know I went last time I went to my niece and nephew's school, and I was quiet. You would have been proud of me that day. I didn't say anything as much as I wanted to. Um, but sometimes, like you said, you have to take a step back and learn what is the best avenue to reach the kid.
Mhm.
But by all means, you are doing everything right. I'm looking at your nonprofit stuff, your books. You are the epitome of an example. Like you are,
Thank you. Wow.
and that is wonderful to see that your dad and your mom have poured in such greatness. And I'm like, goodness, she on her third book. She on this. Um, what else are you like got in the rafters? Like, what else do you have in the rafters? Like, do you do public speaking? You like,
My pastor, he said
uh-oh.
something like that. He was like, at some point you're gonna have to get used to public speaking.
You
He's been
are.
having me speak, and I appreciate him for that. I guess because it's confirmation. But but yeah, that is something eventually down the line I would like to do. If I have to share my testimony or help, some other young people, I'm definitely down for that. I'm definitely all in for that. All hands on deck.
I think you have. I know bits and pieces of it because, like I said, I do know you personally. You are family. I ain't gonna say like. Some people we say you like family and we really don't mean it, but no, you are family.
Right, right.
But and I do know your testimony as well as a lot of mine.
Hmm.
Um, and I think you could be that beacon light in that area
Thank you.
because they need that. And there are some young people that they need to hear your story. And if your pastor said it and I didn't say it, that's confirmation. This the sky is the limit. Like I don't know if you are really aware of how God's hand is in what you're doing.
I'm I'm learning. I'm on this journey. I'm here for the ride. I just tell him every day. I say, Lord, whatever your will is, that's what we're gonna do every day. And
Oh
I'm just here
wow!
for the ride, and that's what I tell them. So literally, it's by faith.
Oh wow! Well, hey, we used to end. That's a throwback. We used to end Sunday school with that back in the day. Now faith.
Yep. Now faith is that man. That was driven. Oh my gosh. Hebrews 11 and 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Exactly.
But who knew, that when you get older, you actually have to live these things. The things that were planted in us, as you get older, those scriptures come alive and you're like, dang, really? This is crazy. Like, one day you're going to live out your favorite scripture. You're going to have to live it. You can't just talk it and recite it. It's got to come to play in your life. And it's like, Jesus, woo.
And it has come to play over and over again. And then when, like you said, you look up and it's like, goodness, everybody is winning, but we have to continue to work together.
Yes. Yes. That is the key. Divided, we aren't going to be able to do anything. But united, we can really help these youth out here.
Exactly. So please, if you are a parent and you're watching the replay, reach out to, oh God, I keep saying Amar, reach out to Carrie Farley. She has a nonprofit in your area, and if you need help with getting into school, she'll reach out to me. So we're
Mhm.
working together. We're in this thing together to help our scholars get
Tag
right. Tag team, we got this.
Yes.
But I would encourage you, if you're listening, please buy her book on the Love series. She is a dynamic author. I've read
Thank
some of
you.
it. I didn't read all of it. I'm just gonna be honest because but I do support. Um,
Thank you.
and and you said you also have a publishing company as well, or no?
Well, I'm starting to publish my books under Beauty from Ashes. This next one, I'm gonna try to publish under my own. Like I was doing it through Amazon, so you know, I'm gonna try the self publishing venture, but also is the start of my company. So maybe that public speaking will come from there. I know the books are gonna come through there. Jordan, she's working on her book with her nana. Jordan's
Oh,
gonna have a book of her own. She
oh,
said she wanted to write a book like me, and I'm just like, oh wow, this is so cool. So, my daughter will have a book coming out soon.
oh my God! I have to have
Her
you
book,
on here on my youth days.
and then, like I said, when I get to that memoir, I'll get there, and then working on some other things underneath that LLC.
Okay. Well, you are, girl, you doing it in all aspects. I'm thinking we coming on here talking about a book. You done broke down what we need to do to get better, and you done told us how we can help the youth. Like, what else you got for us? Because I'm excited. You got us going. Oh my goodness, she got us going today. Look, it's time out. We got to work together, and you see that though. I mean, and that stuff that we learned. Like I said, in our upbringing, both of us, we learned that strength in numbers, one, and two,
Yeah.
if we don't work together, we just gonna be working at the situation. So
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah,
thank
we
you.
should be as effective. We could reach so many more youth if we just join together instead of just having pockets of youth here, pockets of youth there. These is my youth. These are my youth. No, all of these are babies. Like, come on now.
Exactly. Girl, and you said you're not ready for public speaking. I don't think so. I think you on you on track. You on track. I mean, but yes, any way I can support your mission, any way I can support your books that you're writing, and you said the books are available on Amazon.
They are. They are. Love Chances, I think I had ran a special because my husband and I celebrated our 10th wedding anniversary. So for Valentine's weekend, thank you. For Valentine's weekend, I had Love Chances for free on Amazon. And the other book I had, it was like $10 if you just wanted to purchase them on hand. So I think now, because that promotion is over, I think Love Chances now is 99 cents.
Oh,
And
wow.
and Love Changes is $2.99 if you have Kindle. If you don't have a Kindle, then it's 15 online. But you can get them from me also, and I do bundles. So if you haven't bought the first one and you want to buy books 1 and 2, I will offer like a special deal for that. Otherwise, books are 15.
Wow. Okay, so probably when I repost it, or I would drop, or you can inbox me everything and then I can just drop it in the chat. So our viewers, whether they're watching now or they may watch the replay on our various platform sites, they
Hmm.
can support you as well. I mean,
Okay.
because I do want you to be successful in all your endeavors. I mean,
Thank you.
even your nonprofit. I'm like, look, how can we help?
Thank you. And
Without
please,
a challenge.
please leave reviews because I read them.
Oh,
And if you don't feel comfortable leaving a public review, like I said, you can inbox me. I do have a website for Beauty from Ashes as well. Um, and it's Beauty from Ashes LLC 44. It's a Wix site. If you want to just drop a message through there, you could do that as well. But please leave reviews because I'm reading them, and I'm also, you never know, I may incorporate something that you might want to see in the next book. It just depends. I'm still
oh,
fluid with it. So
wow. So you just open to any like any type of, that's
we'll
pretty cool. And
see. We'll
I've
see.
read some of your reviews and they are amazing. Like they're not how can I say, they're not scripted. Like people
No.
are I'm like, these are
It's crazy because I'll be honest, like the first book, I had a lot of support from my friends, and my family. And the majority of people that did reviews were friends and family. But it's like this second one, I'm like, these are people I don't know, and they're leaving reviews, and I'm like, wow, this is like a whole nother thing. So I thank God for that because I'm like, wow, again, I just was writing. I'm just into myself doing my little thing and didn't know, people were going to say, you got me thinking about going back to church or giving love a second try with my, boo or whatever. or or just, people that had been closed off, they've been hurt, and they're like, this is getting, kind of inspiring me to do that. Or, some people were touched by the little scriptures and different things like that I put in there. And I just said to God be the glory because that was definitely not the intent. The intent was just to write.
well, I will honestly say that your gift has made I won't say room, it made a mountain for you in
Thank
all areas. And I like I said, I didn't know that you were this elaborate writer. I was like, goodness, I didn't know she wrote. I know she do other things,
you.
but yeah. So I am truly, like I said, I'm here to help. And
Thank you.
anything that you need support, even if you need to come on here and promote your third book, by all means,
Thank you.
you
Thank you
family,
very much.
you family, and you put out a challenge. You said we got to work together. So
Yeah. I appreciate you though, because I mean, especially for you to not live here right now and to reach out, that means a lot. It really means a lot. But you've always been a humble person, sweet. And by the way, she can blow, y'all. She can sing.
you can tell my secrets. You can't tell people a bit. But yeah, I dibble and dabble singing sometimes, but not like I need to be. But when I do, like this week, I will honestly say, Carrie, this week I was singing. I was in the dark. I was cold. I had nothing else to do.
Yes.
So yes. But do you have any parting words that of encouragement that you can give? Like I know time flies when you're having fun. We done went through a whole hour went through a whole hour. I done learned so much about you. You gave a push to the Montgomery County, Dayton surrounding areas. Like, look, we got to work together. We can't work at. But do you have any parting words, like you do in your memoirs and in your books, that can help somebody that might catch on the replay, that might be watching now live? Like, do you have a word of encouragement as we end today?
Um, I would say just the biggest takeaway would be to, if you serve God, please keep him first. He will direct your path. Trust in him. If you don't, just try to get around people that can help motivate you, people that are where you are trying to go. And those are the people that you want to help mentor you. Those are the people that you want to help you to get to where you need to be. Um, there's a quote, a saying, and I can't remember who it's by, but they say, you are an average of who you hang with. So that's just something I always thought of as well. It's like who do you place yourself around? If you want different results, you need to move differently, you need to act differently. So if you're not reaching certain levels or certain places in your life that you would like to be at, stop back, and ask yourself, like, who am I around? How come I'm not where I need to be? And again, if you are a believer, then you could say, well, am I doing something? Am I not following what God would have for me to do? And again, if you're not, then, you know, take a look and just say, what is it that I'm not doing? And seek someone else out that can help you get to where you need to be. I think that's the biggest thing. Again, the biggest takeaway is we cannot do this alone. You're not in and of this alone. You're not an island to yourself. That's what the world will have you to believe, that you're by yourself and no one wants to help you. No one loves you. And that is a straight lie. Straight lie. So just if you can take away anything, young people, if you need help, reach out. There are people who are willing and able and capable to help you. And if we don't know the answer, or we can't help you personally, we may be connected to someone who can, and we can point you in that direction to get you to where you need to be.
Oh, that was so awesome and on point. Thank you again. I cannot thank you enough for giving time of your busy schedule, because you are a mom and a mom. I was like, your kids must not be there, but you are a mom, author. You work with restorative justice. You do counseling, which you and I share that bond. And I know that can be challenging.
Yes.
I totally appreciate you for giving your time today, and
Nope.
also sharing yourself, sharing your testimony. You got many comments from family members. I tried to post as many as I can as we were talking, but if you go back and watch it, it's amazing. One that really stood out to me, that resonated with me, was there's power in your testimony. You like, not trying to end on a tearjerker note, but girl, between your testimony that you give and the testimony that I know, and the seed, that the seed is growing in you. The way it has grown, it's not even a seed anymore. It's a blossom flower. And I mean, words cannot express how proud I am of you.
Thank
To
you.
see it. I'm like, goodness. I mean, you graduated from high school. I was graduating from college. So we was on 10 different spectrums. But Jesus, to see this, I'm like, oh my God, she's doing this. So again, if you need help, let me know. If you need the resources to help you with the restorative justice, I can mail you some books. I've done that.
Thank you.
Taking classes on that. If you need help with SEL, I can help you with that. But I am so grateful that you gave time. People, please check out her books. She is amazing. If you're in the Dayton and surrounding areas, check out her nonprofit. And the challenge has been given. I mean, she said, look, we got to work together. We can't be, over here doing this and you over here doing that. Only way we can reach the masses is working together. So I guess we got to end on that note, because I think you have awakened your community, because this chat feed is you got it going, Miss Farley, today. You have it going. But I do thank you all for watching. Again, I want to thank her for giving time of her busy schedule. Please watch us on Wednesday, where we have started something new, where we have our HBCU admissions spotlight. I think we have a lot of people on Wednesday, mainly because we had our services interrupted due to the weather. So again, Carrie, you can say bye. Thank the people for watching if you want. And also, most importantly, drop in the chat. And I probably could do it for you. Drop in the chat how we can get a hold of your products, because you heard her testimony, but reading it is even better. So, so thank you, girl. You got this thing going. It's just lighting up over here. But he said, "Wow, yeah." So I guess that speaking is, the floodgates about to open. So your pastor is definitely right. So start practicing in the mirror.
Oh, to God be the glory.
Always.
Thank you for having me so much, Miss Robinson.
You are
And
so welcome. You are so welcome. Very, very welcome. So, again, please check out her items on Amazon. Check out her nonprofit. Check out her pages. We will drop the links in the chat. And also, most importantly, if you are in the position to help, do so. Don't talk about it, be about it. That's, pretty much what we learned today, from our guests. And I am overly excited. She got me challenged to move. I'm like, look, I want to lay down, but no, I need to get some stuff done because that's the challenge she put to us. So thank you again.
thank you. Thank you for having me. Put some of these things in the chat, like you said.
Okay.